Say hello to the 2025 iPad Air with the M3 chip in it, the first ever iPad Air built for Apple Intelligence, which you don't really get. So, new $5.99 iPad, and I bought it for one reason alone, because it's purple. Yes, I'm a sucker for all products that are purple, but there's a lot of stuff that's nice about it. But there's a lot of compromises that you make as well. I mean, there's some frustrations here. It still has some massive bezels, which the bezels take up 20% of the screen. Yes, 80%. It's like an 80.9% screen to body ratio, meaning that 20%, you get this giant bezel all the way around the edges. It's basically been there for years, and it's still the same crappy old IPS panel at 60 hertz, and still no facial recognition. You still only have the Touch ID, which is built in the power button, which works well. I mean, I do like that. I just wish they would have Face ID as well. That would be kind of nice. 120 hertz, that would be nice too. We're really getting to the point where I just don't understand the purpose of these iPads. So, for instance, they give you an M3 chip with 8 gigs of RAM, and you're supposed to have all these realistic, lifelike game playing and all this other stuff, and you get this rinky-dink LCD screen with massive bezels on it, and yeah, I mean, I know it fits in between the iPad and the iPad Pro, but it just drives me crazy that they think that these features are Pro only, and then that you got to pay $1,000 to get the massive Pro, like iPad Pro, the more expensive iPad Pro, to be able to enjoy that kind of stuff. This is a good utility iPad. It's something that it gives you a little bit extra over the basic model if you need to do some work, if you need to do Apple Intelligence, because the new iPad, the regular one, doesn't do it. It's got the A16 chip in it. It doesn't do Apple Intelligence. So you've got to get one of these guys right here. And you got to get the iPad Air or newer, something that's got an M1, M2, M3 chip in it. This has the M3. The iPad Pro has the M4. I had a 2024 iPad Pro, the 11-inch. But if y'all remember from like Days of Future Past, I gave it to my son as a present because he moved off to, got a job, went to College Station, all that stuff. So he uses it for work and school and productivity and things like that. So I haven't had an iPad for months, ever since I gave that to him. So this came out. I saw that it was in purple, so I went ahead and I bought it. I mean, it's got plenty of power, but it feels like you're using an A14, A13X, A12. You really don't feel the power of the M3 series chip unless you're doing like some gaming, but then you're getting a substandard performance because you're playing it on a dumbed down screen. It's not AMOLED, it's not even mini LED, it's not it's not high refresh rate. It's got massive bezels on it. So the only thing I like about the massive bezels is it gives me a little bit extra area to hold it around the edges where I'm not touching the screen and moving things around. That's the only reason I like the bezels. But it basically looks like the same as the iPad Air has been for like the last 5 years. So this is just another tech refresh that Apple's throwing out there saying, oh, hey, here's another excuse to sell you the new Apple Pencil Pro. Oh, of course, we got a new Magic Keyboard you can use with it, which we'll charge you more money for. And it's just the typical standard fare of Apple. Release a tech refresh, change things up a little bit, charge you more money. And I know people aren't buying these year over year. If you got an M2 iPad Air, don't buy an M3. If you've got an M1 iPad Air, don't buy an M3 iPad Air. You're going to see almost no difference. And anyone that takes anything seriously that you would actually use the M3 or the M4 chip for, it's something that you're going to want to get the Pro model. So whenever I got the iPad Pro, I was very happy with it because I had the M4 and I was able to edit videos on there very easily. You can edit videos on here, but the baseline storage, at least it's 128. A couple years ago, it was still 64, which I thought was an absolute joke. So I'm glad that they have 128 gigabytes baseline. That makes me feel a little bit better. You can do a little bit of work on here, a little bit of play, a little bit of everything. Battery life is okay. It's got decent speakers. It's got Touch ID built into the power button. And it comes in purple. So, yeah, I think that the price point is fair because of the chip. But let's face it, if they didn't have an M3 chip in here, this would just be a rinky-dink iPad Air from 5 years ago. So it's one of those things. Do you care about Apple Intelligence? I mean, it's still not really all that applicable. And then on top of that, whenever it comes to iPad OS and all that stuff, like, it's just really not that great. Really haven't been a lot of changes over the years, and it really has felt kind of stale. But if you like iPad, if you like Apple, it's going to fit seamlessly into your ecosphere. You're not going to be looking at a Samsung tablet probably. You're not going to be looking at a Lenovo tablet probably. If you've got an iPad, you got an Apple Watch, you got all that stuff. And the iPad, this is the reason why we don't get touch screen MacBooks. 100%. 100% the reason we don't, because they want you to buy the Magic Keyboard. They want you to buy the Apple Pencil that they come out with. They want to keep dragging more money out of people every couple of years by making it where nothing is interchangeable and you can't use the old stuff with the new stuff. So once they can't do that anymore, they're going to lose out on a lot of sales and a lot of money. So if they were to take a MacBook Pro and then give it a touchscreen, people wouldn't buy this. They'd just buy the MacBook Pro or the MacBook Air with the touchscreen, just like you can do with any Lenovo. Like Lenovo makes touchscreen laptops, HP makes touchscreen laptops, Microsoft. In the Windows world, it's not an anomaly, but Apple refuses to do it because they will lose out on sales on their bread and butter, and it'll basically make this tablet useless. But if you get the Magic Keyboard with this, if you get the Apple Pencil with this, it really does open things up, make it more of a productivity, business applicable, more scalable. You can do a lot more things with it, and it's great for entertainment. It's good for gaming, kind of. This IPS panel, this LCD screen looks like crap. It has 500 nits brightness. It looks like crap compared to what is out there on the market. I made a video the other day talking about the Honor Magic V9 tablet and how it was a iPad Air killer or an iPad killer in 2025 because it's like $200 less and you can get it bundled with the keyboard overseas and with the pencil, and it looks better. So Apple it's just one of those things where they sandbag their products for so long. Like they keep sandbagging their products, they keep coming out with a new iteration, they keep making different pieces of hardware obsolete to where you have to buy new stuff to upgrade, and then they keep intentionally downplaying and sandbagging their own hardware so that way they'll try and upsell you into something else and make you think that you have to pay that to get that. Heck, you could go buy like a Samsung Galaxy Tab S9 FE and it's going to have a better looking screen than this for half the price. So it's one of those things where if you're stuck in the Apple ecosphere, if you have blinders on and you don't look at the world around you and you just want something that works with the rest of your products, this might be a good opportunity if you do a little bit of work, a little bit of business stuff, maybe a little bit of content creation. You don't want to go out there and spend that $1,000, but you know you need more than the base model. You know you need more than the regular iPad. This gives you a little bit of extra premiumness, but it doesn't break the bank too much, and just some little secret tidbits. So right now, I actually got it from Best Buy because if for Best Buy reward members or whatever it's called, Total Tech, you get 50 bucks off. So I got it for $5.49, and I got 2 years of Apple Care with it. So that's nice. Or if you're a veteran, active duty, retired military, whatever, you can use the ID.me verification. Go to Apple and search Apple Veterans Store or just Google Apple Veterans Store, and you can get 10% off that way. So you can get this a little bit cheaper. There are some options. I'm glad it's at least $128. I feel like it should be at least $256, but of course they don't have expandable storage. You got to pay extra. Then they charge you out the wazoo for extra storage, and it's just one of those things. You got to pay the Apple tax for everything. But it's beautiful. I love the way it looks. It's super, super thin. It's got great speakers on it. Charges with USB-C. Has a pretty decent battery. It's got lots and lots of accessories for it. I like that it has Touch ID. And there's stuff to like here. I mean, in all this ranting that I'm doing, there is stuff to like here. And I'm glad it's not $1,000. I'm glad it's not $799. I think $599 is about fair because of the hardware that's inside of it, the 8 gigs of RAM and the M3 chip. The M3 chip is no slouch. Very, very powerful. Of course, I love if you go to their website, they compare all their metrics to the M1, not the M2. And it's always interesting because when we look at Android, Android compares their phones and their hardware to last year. So if we talk about the Snapdragon 8 Elite, we compare it to the Snapdragon 8 Generation 3. Not Apple. Apple tries to inflate their metrics and say, oh, it's 60% better than the M1. Or it's 40% better in this department than the M1. Like, you have to look at all the qualifiers and the context surrounding it. Or it'll be like, oh, the A18 Bionic is this much better than the A14. So just Appleisms and how they do it. It's got the cameras on here for good measure if you care about that. It doesn't have 2. It doesn't have like a depth sensor or anything crazy like that. Just going to be for some snapshots, hold it up in class, take a picture of the billboard, take an opportune picture while you're out using it. This isn't to take out to the zoo to go take photos with. It's not going to do you all that great. But anyway, it's all right. It's built from the ground up for Apple Intelligence, which still isn't really here. And we don't know when the advanced series is going to be here. Part of it might show up after the iPhone 17. Part of it might show up in 2026. Things are rotten in Apple's world right now when it comes to Apple Intelligence. It's hurting them, and it makes them look like a joke. And I'm glad, because that's what they are right now when it comes to Apple Intelligence, a joke. But anyway, if you like the iPads, you'll probably like this one. If you haven't had one in a couple of years, you need some extra storage, you need a little extra power, need a little extra juice, Want a little extra refinement in your life? You can get this, and in purple. And they have that blue color and a couple other colors. But anyway, it's a decent tablet. It's a decent tablet that basically hasn't been refreshed in years from the looks and design and really giving you a better screen. But it does have some really good power under the hood for multitasking, productivity, gaming on a crappy screen, or maybe some video editing, content creation, things like that. And for that, it could be a good value. So that's all I got. If you have any questions, comments, gripes, concerns, complaints, all that stuff, please go to the comment section. I'll do my best to get back with you. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching. I'll see you guys next time.